Quilters, stop throwing away your batting scraps. Your serger can turn every last one of them into something usable, and today I'm going to show you exactly how. Hey Serger Bees, I'm Sookie, your serger coach, and this is video 3 from the series, 4 ways quilters can use a serger. If you're just jumping in, welcome, but I would encourage you to start with video 1 first. It'll set you up for everything we're doing inside this series. There's also a free guide to go along with this series, and you'll find the link for that in the description. And just so you know, it doesn't matter what serger you have sitting in your sewing room. This series was made for you. A serger is a serger, and the technique we're talking about today in this video works across the board. And that is a flatlock stitch and how quilters can use it to join batting scraps together into something actually usable. And here's the bonus. This stitch is one of the most forgiving, low pressure stitches you can practice on your serger. So you're learning and producing something useful at the same time. So what is a flatlock stitch? Let me explain what this stitch does, because once you understand it, it makes complete sense for batting. The flatlock stitch is designed to join 2 pieces of material edge to edge, not one on top of the other like regular seams, but right up next to one another. And when you open the seam and lay it flat, it lies completely flat. No ridge, no bulk, just a clean row of stitching holding the 2 pieces together. You might have seen this stitch on athletic wear, those flat seams that sit smooth against your skin. That's a flatlock stitch. And when you apply it to batting scraps, it is absolutely perfect. Now, before we talk settings, I want to make sure your serger can do this stitch. The flatlock I'm showing today is a 2-thread flatlock wide or left needle. To do this stitch, you'll need to engage what's called an upper looper converter. Sometimes it's called the subsidiary looper. Think of it as a small switch or part on your machine that changes how the stitch is formed so the seam can open and lie flat. Your manual will show you exactly where it is and how to engage it. Alternatively, a 3-thread flatlock stitch works as well. Just you'll need an extra spool of thread. So if your serger doesn't have the upper looper converter option, check your manual to see if a 3-thread flatlock is available to you. And if you're not sure what type of machine you have or what stitches it can do, inside the free guide, I reference a video that covers the different types of sergers. There are 4 reasons quilters love this technique. First, no added bulk. When you join 2 pieces of batting with a flatlock, the seam lies completely flat, which means your quilt sandwich stays even. No thick ridge running through the middle of your batting layer and ultimately inside your quilt. Second, wiggle room. The flatlock has a little forgiveness built right into it. Your edges don't have to be perfectly matched for the stitch to work beautifully. For anyone who's felt nervous about precision at the serger, this stitch is a wonderful place to start and practice to gain confidence. And I always tell my Serger Dream Club members, confidence comes from action, not just thinking about doing something, so get in there and just stitch. Third, blade up or blade down. It doesn't matter because you're not cutting the batting. You can leave your blade in whichever position feels most comfortable. That's one less thing to think about. And lastly, this is excellent practice. You're learning how this stitch works and how your machine moves, and at the end you have a bigger, usable piece of batting to show for it. Nothing is wasted. Okay, Serger Bee, it's time to set up your serger. Always follow your manual for setup and use your threading guide. Same rules apply as always. Your manual is your best friend. And fun fact, if you've got an older serger and your manual is nowhere to be found, do a quick Google search with your make and model. Chances are you'll be able to find a PDF version online. Now, before I give you my tension settings, I want to be upfront about something. Tensions for the Flatlock can be all over the place depending on your machine. On the lower looper, you might land anywhere between 4 and 7, and on the needle, anywhere between 0.5 and 2. That's a pretty wide range, and that's completely normal. This is exactly why I always say follow your threading chart first and use my settings as a starting point, but not a rule. On my machine, here's where I started. Let's begin with threading the lower looper and setting the tension to 4. And you'll need to engage your upper looper converter or subsidiary looper. Your manual will show you exactly where it is and how to use it. For this stitch, use a 90-14 needle because we're going through that thicker batting. And as always, make sure you're using the correct needle system for your machine. ELX 705 or 130 705H. If you're not sure, go back to video 1 and check the free guide. Now thread the left needle and set the tension to 2. Set your stitch width anywhere between 6.5 and 7. Go wide on this one. That's what helps the seam lie flat when you open it. Now, if your serger width simply doesn't go that wide, just go as wide as you can. Now on the stitch length, you want to test out a few options, but I personally found a range anywhere between 2.5 and 4. Batting has some thickness to it, so a slightly longer stitch often looks and performs better. When it comes to differential feed, start at 1. However, if your batting starts to bunch or pucker as it moves through, adjust from there. If you find it stretching out too much, you might go up to 1.2 or 1.5. And if it's gathering too much, you might go down to 0.7. Just play and adjust. And don't forget about the presser foot pressure. If your machine has a pressure control, usually a dial or knob at the top of the machine, that can make a big difference with batting too. Batting is thicker than regular fabric, so try reducing the pressure. Less pressure on the presser foot helps it glide over the batting rather than fighting it. And here's a little tip. If you have a plastic or clear presser foot, try swapping to that one. Because it's lighter weight, it tends to move over batting more smoothly than a metal foot. Small things like this can make a surprisingly big difference. As your serger coach, this is the exact moment I want to encourage you, because this right here, this adjusting and testing and figuring it out, this is where growth happens. Every time you challenge yourself to try something new, to tweak a setting, to not give up, when it doesn't work the first time, you are becoming a more confident, more capable serger bee. That is not a small thing. That is exactly how this works. So don't be afraid to mess with the dials. Remember, these are just scraps you are experimenting with. It's okay. Just make the adjustments in small increments and always go back to your baseline if you get lost. And if you stitch something you don't love, no worries. I have a video inside the free guide that shows you exactly how to remove the Flatlock stitch. Now, when it comes to the blade, honestly, up or down. Since you're not cutting the batting, it truly doesn't matter. And if you like this kind of calm, step-by-step teaching, Serger Escape was made for you. It's my beginner serger course. It only opens a few times a year, and enrollment is intentionally kept small. So get your name on the wait list. You'll find the link inside the free guide. When you're ready to stitch, place your 2 pieces of batting right sides together, just like you would for a regular seam. Here's an important detail. Align the raw edges so they sit about 1/8 of an inch to the right of your needle. That small offset means less batting ends up caught inside the stitches, and your seam will lie flatter when you open it. Before you start stitching, hold on to those thread tails at the beginning and guide them behind the presser foot as you stitch. This is a good habit to get into because those thread tails can sometimes get pulled back up into the loopers when you start, especially for these excessively loopy stitches. And that can cause a little chaos right at the beginning of your seam. Now, here's something worth practicing. Use your left hand to hold those thread tails back and out of the way, and let your right hand guide the fabric. I know this might feel a little unnatural at first. Using your left hand more is actually a new skill that comes with serging, but try to get into this habit from the beginning. Left hand holds, right hand guides. Once it clicks, it becomes second nature, and your stitching will feel so much more controlled. Oh, and one more thing, relax your shoulders. I know you're scrunching them up right about now. Stitch along the edge at a slow, steady pace. When you get to the end, for this particular type of stitch, leave yourself about 1 to 2 inches of thread tail before you cut. I know it's tempting to clip it right at the edge, but when you open a flatlock seam and give it a wiggle, a little extra thread tail gives the stitch something to hold on to. I found that if you clip too close, the seam can just fall apart on you. And nobody wants that after all this hard work. And when you're done, here's the fun part. Open the seam and give it a wiggle. Literally just pull the 2 sides gently apart and wiggle until it lies completely flat. That movement is part of the technique. And listen, if it doesn't lie flat right away, check your tensions first and make some adjustments. The flatlock is a tension-sensitive stitch, and a small adjustment usually makes a big difference. And if your serger has automatic tensions, go back and make sure you've selected the correct stitch, specifically the 2-thread flatlock wide or the 3-thread flatlock stitch setting. Automatic tensions are wonderful, but they can only do their job if you've told the machine exactly which stitch you're using. And keep in mind your settings might be slightly different than mine, and that's completely okay. Inside the free guide, I designed a page just for you to write down your final settings. Test first, adjust your machine, your batting, your thread, and when you land on something you love, add a little swatch right there so you have a reference for next time. So here's what I want you to walk away with today. Those batting scraps are not garbage. They are practice material and usable batting all at the same time. Your serger just gave them a second life. Up next is video 4, quilt edge prep before binding. And here's a fun fact, that technique isn't just for quilts. If you do bag making, home decor, or basically anything you're working with multiple layers, video 4 applies to you too. So until I see you next time, I hope you have a creative day. Bye-bye.